Hey, what is up YouTube? This is the Merman Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders Yugioh channel. And I am super excited to be profiling for you today my completed Zane Truesdale character deck. This has been something that people on this channel have been requesting for a very long time. And my profile is going to be the fulfillment of a promise I made over a year ago, to give you guys this profile. Now, this profile has been a labor of love for me for quite some time. And if you notice the top monster of the deck, you'll notice that this is not a normal Cyber Dragon deck profile. That's right, guys. This is a brand new proprietary character deck build idea that I've created with one simple idea. You're going to use this deck to win with Cyber Barrier Dragon and his good friend, Cyber Laser Dragon. You think Cyber End Dragon is the ace monster of this deck? You are mistaken. I am very, very excited to profile this deck for you guys because while I've had the deck build for a while, I just haven't been able to get the cards for it. And I am still working on hollowing out and max rarity in the deck. So there are a couple of things in here that I am missing in their highest rarities. But given the fact that so many people over the last year or so have been waiting patiently for this deck profile, I couldn't hold back any longer. So guys, without further ado, I give you the official big man on campus Zane Truesdale character deck. Let's get into it. So, now, to start out, guys, as you recently saw, we've got the first cards in the deck, and it is Cyber Barrier and Cyber Laser Dragon. When I tell you guys that these are the ace monsters of the deck, I really want you to believe me. I'll read through their effects a little bit, and then explain a little bit about how I'm going to use them. First, we're going to start with Cyber Laser Dragon. This guy is special summoned by the card Photon Generator Unit, and basically tributes two Cyber Dragons to bring himself out. When he's on the field, once per turn, he gains the ability to pop a monster your opponent controls or any monster on the field that is higher attack power than himself. Be careful, however, because if he is the highest attack monster by himself, if you proc the effect, you must pop him. The second card is Cyber Barrier Dragon, which is summoned by attributing a Cyber Dragon through Attack Reflector Unit. Now, Cyber Barrier Dragon, basically, when it's in attack mode, doesn't really have a beefy attack, but it's got a beefy defense. But when it's in attack mode, it allows you to negate the first attack that is launched its way. Now, this is very, very important for some of the combos I'm about to show you. But now that you have these effects in mind, keep them in mind as we go through the rest of the deck, and I'll show you some of the cards that we run in here. Now, in order to summon Cyber Barrier and Cyber Laser Dragon, one of the important things that you have to have on the field, of course, is Cyber Dragons. So we're running 3 copies of the original Cyber Dragon. Now, Cyber Dragon himself is, the original OG kind of card. And while it is one of the most amazing cards, and you shouldn't run it at any less than 3, Zane did not actually run any of the other cards I'm about to show you. But the important thing is that once you have one Cyber Dragon on the field, you're not really playing or summoning any more Cyber Dragons because of its ability that does not allow it to be special summoned if you control a monster, which means if you get a Cyber Dragon out himself, you really can't do anything with that. Here to save the day, of course, is 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. This is one of the main Cyber Dragons in your deck and is your key searcher. This allows you to search any card that has Cyber in its name, spell and trap card wise, which means that you can search cards that can search Core, you can search cards that allow you to assist in fusion summoning, and of course, allow you to find and search your Cyber Barrier and Cyber Laser Dragons. Very, very important. Now, as you guys did see, fusion summoning is an aspect of this deck, but it's not the whole thing. Your fusion summons only serve the purpose of helping to get you to the pieces that you will need to bring Cyber Barrier and Cyber Laser out and actually have them win you the game. Now, moving on to the next parts. Since we want to have as many Cyber Dragons on the field, why not add in a Cyber Dragon that allows us to special summon itself to the board? This here is Cyber Dragon Veer. When you normal or special summon a Cyber Dragon monster, you can special summon Veer from your hand. Veer then will boost the attack power of your Cyber Dragons by 500 points. Really, really good option. So now you have Veer as an extra option. But we still want to have more cards that count as Cyber Dragon in their name. So why don't we add in another card? We have 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Noxter. Now, a lot of Cyber Dragon players used to run this at 3, as did I in this deck, but I have found that Cyber Dragon Noxter is best in here at 2. As a level 1 monster with 200 attack power, it's great because it counts as a Cyber Dragon for machine duplication, can special summon for some of your other spells and traps in the deck, and most importantly, allows you to special summon a monster with 2100 attack or 2100 defense from your graveyard when it is normal or special summon. So that means Cyber Dragon, that means your Cyber Pharaohs, and even Cyber Twin Dragon, who has 2100 defense points. So there are a variety of different cards that you can special summon with this card, and it is good to keep it in mind. One of the best cards to ditch off of this effect is actually Cyber Dragon Hers. Cyber Dragon Hers has the special ability when it's sent to the graveyard, allows you to fetch a Cyber Dragon from your deck or grave. While it can only fetch the original Cyber Dragon from your deck, where it really shines is the ability to grab a Cyber Dragon from your graveyard. So you can grab a Core or a Veer who count as Cyber Dragon in the graveyard back to your hand. This includes when it's sent to the graveyard by any way, including whether it's tributed or sent to the graveyard off of Future Fusion or of cards that send it directly from there to the graveyard. Now, guys, we're going to end the monster lineup with a little bit of flavor. Now, you guys can take this card out and replace it with anything, but I like it because Zane ran the card. It's 1 copy of Cyber Phoenix. It's a fire monster, but it protects your Cyber Dragons from targeting by spells and traps, of course, even your own, but you can replace it with another light machine type monster should you so please. But Cyber Phoenix is in here really very much for flavor, so if you guys want to run extra copies of any of the other cards we have in this deck, feel free to take out Cyber Phoenix to do so. The next card I've got in here is a single copy of Cyber Pharaohs. Now, Cyber Pharaohs is in this deck because it does a variety of different things. Not only is it a 2100 defensive monster that you can reborn off of Noxter, it also allows you to facilitate fusion summons for some of the monsters in your extra deck. The important thing that I wanted to do with this deck is to have a similar kind of feel as my Jaden deck. Any number of Cyber Dragons plus a fusion spell or something like Cyber Pharaohs, for instance, will allow you to special summon a fusion monster. Now, Cyber Pharaohs is great because he can allow you to trigger the effects of a card like Hers by sending it to the graveyard when you might not have had a way to do so otherwise and get its effect to grab you a Cyber Dragon to your hand. This ends up doing is gaining you more materials for Cyber Pharaohs to use on its own effect, which is awesome. So something to note. The final card we've got in here is 1 copy of Cyber Eltanin. A lot of people would now consider this better than Cyber Barrier and Cyber Laser Dragon, but basically this card is one of the key cards that Zane used in the manga. So great to have in here for that option, and it also is a non-targeting, non-destruction removal that upon summon sends everything to the graveyard. So that's going to do it for the monsters. We're now going to move into our spell cards, guys. And this spell lineup is pretty crazy. We're first starting things out with 2 copies of Cyber Emergency. Now, Cyber Emergency is a fantastic card. It's pretty much an anti-negate because anytime they would try to negate it, you can just bring it back to your hand by discarding a card. But the most important thing is it searches any Cyber Dragon monster or light machine type monster from your deck to your hand. And as you may or may not know, Cyber Eltanin, Cyber Barrier, and Cyber Laser Dragon are not actually Cyber Dragon monsters. So this is an extra good effect allowing you to search. The same can of course be said for Cyber Repair Plant, and thanks to these abilities, both of these are different cards and can be activated once per turn. Next, we've got in here Machine Duplication at 2. As I talked about with the main deck monsters, you're running a lot of low-level Cyber Dragons, and getting these guys out is going to be especially good. In addition, we've got a single copy of Inferno Reckless Summon for the same exact reason. Basically, guys, if you special summon a Noxter or a less than 500 attack Cyber Dragon monster, which is usually going to be, you know, or any kind of Cyber Dragon monster that's got less than 500 attack. Inferno Reckless Summon will special summon any Cyber Dragon left in your deck, as well as any monster that counts as Cyber Dragon in your graveyard. So you can get up to like 4 separate monsters depending on what you summon from your graveyard. So it's incredible. This is a fantastic card, allowing you to really put a lot of Cyber Dragon monsters on your field. Now, guys, here is the secret spice. We, of course, have 3 copies of Photon Generator Unit. Now, you cannot get out your Cyber Laser Dragon without Photon Generator Unit. Photon Generator Unit basically says tribute 2 Cyber Dragon monsters on your side of the field, or tribute 2 Cyber Dragon, quote unquote, the card that counts as Cyber Dragon, to special Cyber Laser Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Very, very important, guys. So Photon Generator Unit has to be in here at 3 because, first of all, it's unsearchable, but it actually is very beneficial because you will have like Cyber Hers or Cyber Veer or other cards that you can't really use too much on your side of the board. Photon Generator Unit can be activated at any point during your opponent's turn, during your main phase, during your battle phase, to get out a Cyber Laser Dragon that can put more damage on the board than the 2 monsters it tributes on its own. It can also allow you to proc hers and go for extra added benefits and damages there. Your opponent will not see a play with Photon Generator Unit coming, and unlike your Attack Reflector unit, guys, Photon Generator Unit can summon Cyber Laser Dragon from the graveyard. So you can run 3 of these and be able to proc it more than 1 time during the duel. And grab a Cyber Laser Dragon out to pop stuff your opponent controls more than once. So the next card we're running in here is part of one of our combos. Now, I'm going to explain to you the main combo, but your ace monster in this deck is basically Cyber Barrier Dragon, and this is one of the cards that helps us out here. 2 copies of Future Fusion. I have 1 first ed in here, and the Unlimited that I actually pulled out of a booster pack that I will not be updating to first edition for that very reason. It's kind of crazy to actually pull an Unlimited, to pull any kind of ulti, let alone Future Fusion. And so, you know, one of the first cards that I've pulled since getting back into the game, and it makes me so happy that I can run it. But basically, Future Fusion, even in its eroded state, is a huge play for this Zane character deck. Because what you use Future Fusion for is you utilize it to send a bunch of things to your graveyard by declaring your Chimera Tech Overdragon. And that's going to be very, very important for some of our plays, but basically allows you to summon a bunch of stuff out. So that's going to be those spell cards. This is all the kind of, you know, interesting spell cards that we have in our first sort of part here. We're moving on to fusion spells, running only 1 copy of Power Bond. Now, you can bump this up to 2 if you want. As I mentioned, there are certain cards in here that I run for character deck flavor that you are more than free to replace with things that you would rather run. Future Fusion, and you know, you could do a 3 Future Fusion and, for instance, 2 Power Bond. But I like 1 in here because fusion summoning is not really the main goal of this deck. So, you know, just have a couple of other cards in here. Second fusion spell I have is Cyberload Fusion. This is great for just shuffling everything back into your deck. So, one of those awesome, awesome cards that you absolutely need to run because you're going to be banishing a lot of Cybers during the course of this duel, and Cyberload Fusion allows you to put them back in the deck. Now, for my tech cards in here, guys, we have 1 copy of Flash Fusion. Now, this is a crazy card, and I thought would really kind of bring the Zane character deck style out to the forefront. Now, if anyone has watched the Graduation Duel, you're well aware that Zane has all sorts of crazy cards. Future Fusion, Time Fusion, you know, all sorts of ways to bring out his Cyber and Dragon. And Flash Fusion is a card that allows you to fusion summon a fusion monster as a quick play during the battle phase. So imagine attacking with 3 Cyber Dragons and dropping a Flash Fusion from your hand and summoning 3 more. Things get even crazier when you add in this next card. Here we have Cybernetic Fusion Support, a card that very few people run, but is actually one of the most incredible cards that you can find for a bombastic, balls-to-the-walls character deck. Now, why do I say that? Because cybernetic fusion support allows you to target any, you pay half your life points, and basically anytime you would use a fusion spell, you can utilize monsters from your hand, deck, and graveyard for the fusion summon. So basically, it would turn Cyberload Fusion, for instance, into a Miracle Fusion. So instead of having to use the field of the Banish Zone, you can just use monsters from your hand, deck, and graveyard. But the crazy thing is, with Flash Fusion, guys, you can actually do a battle phase play where if you've got 3 or more Cyber Dragon monsters that count as Cyber Dragon in your extra deck, you use Cybernetic Fusion support and then play a Flash Fusion. You can summon a Cyber End Dragon in the battle phase without ever having any Cyber Dragons on your field. So it's one of those bombastic plays. And things get even crazier, guys, when you add in limiter removal. So I've actually won a duel one time, actually, by doing this. I used Cybernetic Fusion support during the battle phase, chained Flash Fusion to banish 3 Cyber Dragons from the graveyard, attack directly, and then drop limiter removal during the damage step for game. So you have some pretty crazy plays that you guys can make with all of these cards together, and I can't recommend it enough. And as I said, guys, feel free to play around with your ratios of fusion spells and different cards that you want to run. Now moving into some of our other cards here. We've got one copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Now, you may argue that this is a My Valentine card, but what I would say is that I feel like it fits with Zane's character, because Zane is the kind of guy who was willing to climb a mountain to go find the Cyberdark deck, like a deck of cards that he thought was going to help him out. So you got to figure, if Harpy's Feather Duster, a card so powerful to pop all his opponent's back row, exists somewhere in the world, you can bet your rear end that Zane Truesdale is going to have tracked down that card and found it. So that's why I justify Harpy's Feather Duster in here, is because I feel like it's a card that Zane would find in his quest to do anything to win. Now, we have one copy of Different Dimension Capsule. Now, you guys know that this is a Zane favorite. He uses this in so many duels. Now, granted, I will tell you guys that Gold Sarcophagus is pretty much a strictly better version of this card, so feel free to replace it should you want increased consistency. But for the sheer character deck aspect, guys, Different Dimension Capsule and banishing a thing face down and adding it to your hand is still one of the coolest plays you can make. Now we've got one copy of 1-for-1 for pretty self-explanatory reasons to proc the effect of your Noxter and whatnot, and then finishing things off with Pot of Avarice to help you shuffle things back into your deck. That's going to do it for our spells, a rather large lineup. Moving on to our traps, there are only 2. This is the key card in the deck, guys, and this is the secret to my 3-card combo. This is Born from Draconis. Born from Draconis is a crazy card, guys, because it was run in the manga by Zane to go along with your Cyber Eltanin. However, what if I told you guys I could use this card to make a 6,500 attack power unbeatable Cyber Laser Dragon or Cyber Barrier Dragon? And I'll show you how. So, for this combo, guys, you need a Born from Draconis, you need Cyber Barrier or Cyber Laser Dragon. We're going to use Cyber Barrier Dragon for this. And you will need 1 copy of Future Fusion. Now, how does this work? So, granted, this is kind of a slower character deck play, but I wanted to find a way for us in a Zane deck to utilize something besides Cyber End Dragon for once to win our duels. Now, Born from Draconis is the card that allows us to do that, because what it does is you can trigger this card to special summon a Light Machine monster from level 6 or higher Light Machine type monster from your hand, and this monster has its summoning conditions ignored. So as you notice, we don't run the card that specials Cyber Barrier Dragon attack reflector unit in here, because this is just a better way to get it out on the field. You ignore the summoning conditions and then banish a whole bunch of monsters, and the monster has its attack become 500 times the number of monsters banished. So you see here, the Cyber Barrier Dragon has only 800 attack. But you do this and you banish a whole bunch of Cybers, his attack power goes way, way up. And then, finally, it is unaffected by card effects except its own. So, how does this play out, guys? Well, you first start things out with Future Fusion. Now, granted, this is a pretty tough card to resolve most of the time, especially if you're going up against a crazier deck. So I'm not saying, resolve this card and hope for the best, but that's how you kind of play this play. So what you do here first is you activate the Future Fusion, you declare Chimera Tech from your extra deck, and then you mill as many Cybers as possible. You then find a way to grab Barrier Dragon to your hand, set the Born from Draconis, and then on the next turn, you can trigger Born from Draconis to special summon your Barrier Dragon by banishing all those monsters. Barrier Dragon comes to the field at 6,500 attack power, is unaffected by every other card, and can negate the first attack that comes his way. E.g., you use Barrier Dragon to win you a duel. So that is it for the main deck. Now moving on to our extra deck. We're starting things out here with one copy of Cyber Twin Dragon. One of the best cards, guys, arguably better than Cyber End in a lot of very specific scenarios. Cyber Twin is basically used to, help with OTKs and when you don't have the ability to field a Cyber End Dragon. Lots of people look for this card, particularly for its ability under Power Bond and its massively increased power and attack. Of course, we have to be running Cyber End Dragon in here because it's a Zane deck. I'm still looking for an ulti first deck, guys, but let me tell you, that is one of the toughest cards possible to find. And the next card we have in here is one copy of Cyber Eternity Dragon. Now, I justify running this because as an extra deck monster, it doesn't really do too much. But I like to have it in here as like an extra chump blocker and can also work together with Cyber Pharaohs to search Power Bond out of the deck. Special summons other Cyber Dragon monsters as well and is a nice 4,000 booty, so that's great. Now, moving on, guys, we've got one copy of Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. This is just for extra fusion spells and for increased consistency. However, those wishing to run a pure Zane character deck can feel free to take this out. The final card we've got is Chimera Tech Overdragon. This is your most important fusion in the deck, not even because it's special summons, but because you send a whole bunch of stuff with Future Fusion or a whole bunch of stuff back to your deck with Overload Fusion, declaring this guy. It allows the unprecedented movement of Cyber Dragon and Cyber Dragon archetype related monsters from your hand, deck, graveyard, field, and banish zone. So you're going to be cycling a lot of stuff, and Chimera Tech Overdragon is the card that makes that happen. You can even, for instance, run more than one of these if you feel that that is necessary, but I've also found one to be pretty necessary, pretty okay. Next cards we've got in here are 3 copies of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Why is Fortress Dragon in here at 3? Well, you're running pretty much only fusions in this deck. You're not really running links unless you'd like to. And, so this is kind of the replacement of Link. Any Cyber Dragon plus a whole bunch of other machines on your field or your opponent's field equals a Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Helps you proc more effects and do some nasty, nasty plays. And the final cards we have in here are Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon at 2. Very, very powerful card because it allows with one single Cyber Dragon summon to remove cards in the extra monster zone, which is fantastic. Usually goes up to 24, but in very rare scenarios can go up to 36. Pretty freaking cool. So guys, that is going to do it for my Cyber Dragon Zane Truesdale character deck profile. It's been a long time coming, guys, and I really hope it was worth the wait. If you liked the video or want to comment on it, please remember to rate, comment, subscribe to the Team Time Riders YouTube channel for more awesome videos, and I might even put together some combo videos to showcase to you how the deck really works. But once again, guys, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and this has been the Mermail Master with the Team Time Riders YouTube channel, signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.